You know the movie Romancing the Stone?
with Kirk Douglas
Yeah.
and
I like to think that I am the Kirk Douglas one and you are the Stone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new Podtoid. Again. I'm your host, Jim Sterling. I'm joined by Harms Raziz, who is back.
hey, I'm back.
Hello. Your computer all fixed? All nice and
No,
fixed up, is it? What? No?
no, I'm borrowing Nero's laptop while he's away to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I only barely explained what happened. It got busted like at E3 or after?
At fucking E3, like Wednesday night, something happened, and I could barely do any proper coverage of E3 stuff. I had to borrow Nero's laptop at the time too, and just get it done. But yeah, I should
I
be getting a permanent replacement hopefully this week.
feel bad because I was after Wednesday on the Thursday and a bit on the Friday. I was slagging you off to the interns, all the new people coming in. That Harms's done fuck all. He's a lazy piece of shit. That's what I was saying to all the interns, and they all nodded and agreed. Now I feel bad because you broke the laptop.
When you were sleeping in our room, I would fart in your face.
That's fine. I like that when I
Damn
sleep.
it! That wasn't the reaction I wanted.
So I've won that one. That goes on my chalkboard of wins.
Fuck you. Well, I'm glad to be back at least.
Yes, hello. That sounded really condescending. I'm actually happy to have you back. Not how that patronising hello sounded. And we're joined by special lovely guest, Conrad Zimmerman.
My mute button got stuck. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Back by popular demand.
Oh God,
People
Really?
like you.
that's unfortunate. People
Yeah.
have bad taste on the whole, I find.
We'll be joined by Jonathan Holmes, presumably. He is not around. Probably, wiping asses or whatever it is he does now as an executive of a mental house. I don't know, maybe the Riddle has escaped or something. Ha ha. But because I've got stuff to talk to him about, but anyone else in my life, I kind of block out. So I've got nothing to talk to Harms or Conrad about, because really Jonathan Holmes is the only human I see in the world. The rest of the population are just kind of vague shapes. So I guess we can be boring and traditional and talk about video games. Have you been playing games or not?
See, now this is the thing that's fucked up about this situation is that I was coming on Podtoid and I was not expecting to have to talk about video games.
Well, that's Jonathan's fault. That's Jonathan gone. As soon as he's back, we'll be talking about all sorts of stuff. I'm going to try and convince him to Tokyo Drift with me. You see,
Oh,
we've
God.
got that gold stored up. Don't worry, listeners. We've got a Willem Dafoe movie pitch coming. Definitely Harms's favourite section on the show.
Yay!
Absolutely, he loves them. He loves Willem Dafoe as a lifestyle. Really,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he's my idol.
What's your favourite Willem Dafoe film? Harms is his.
Uh, fuck the one with the Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints. That's a good choice. Mine would be one of them.
That's great.
So, Conrad, what have you been playing this week?
Uh, well, let's see. Wow. I've been playing the new Penny Arcade, Rain Slick Adventures Episode 3, from Zboid Games, the guy who did Breath of Death 7 and Cthulhu Saves the World. And I like it. I have a feeling it's a very long game, though. That's the sense I'm starting to get from it. I'm concerned that the game is longer than I was anticipating from a Penny Arcade Adventures title, which, when Hothead made them, they were, 6-8 hours tops. This feels like it's going to be a bit of a... What is that noise?
That's what I was wondering. It sounds It must be coming from Hamza because the little blue square is shining round his face.
There's nothing happening.
And it sounds like you're in a big box of cereal.
Yes.
It sounds like you're just swimming like Scrooge McDuck in a money
He
bin,
is
but
the
with
prize.
cornflakes.
Hamza's the prize.
I'm just
Yes!
sitting here in my bed. Like,
Hamza, can you be a prize in the world's biggest... We could make a world record out of that. The world's biggest cereal prize. Hamza Aziz from San Francisco in America.
what's the cereal?
It's brilliant. We'll put you in a big plastic bowl, right? Fruit Loops, obviously, because the toucans on the box. So,
Obvious.
yeah, obviously. You'll be in a big plastic bowl, like a Pokemon, but not. And we'll shove you in a giant, I mean, it'll have to be about the size of Annie Lennox's house. And you'll just be in there amongst the Fruit Loops.
I'm so glad that Hamza just said who. Annie Lennox, one half of the Eurythmics.
Who?
There we go.
Okay.
Well, that's
Thank you,
brilliant.
Hamza.
That's okay. So I will be scrapping all of my Eurythmics material that I had planned for this show as well. I've got a
So
book.
we've got like 10 minutes of show planned, is what I got. We got Willem Dafoe, and then it was all Eurythmics from there on out.
It was pretty much all Eurythmics. I was promoting my book, Jim Sterling's Eurythmics joke book. 100 Eurythmics-styled goofs and gags to tell at political events and dinners.
Can I still get in the bowl of cereal?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Hey, Conrad, I got a question about... God, this is a dry podcast. Conrad, I've got a question about the Penny Arcade game.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you review it so I don't have to bother finding someone?
Oh, you son of a bitch. I was going to suggest that Darren Nakamura handle that task, actually, but, yeah, maybe. I mean, I've just sort of been casually playing through it. I haven't been pushing too hard on it, but yeah, I suppose that's something I could do. It's something. I like elements of it, but there's a lot of complexity to its class system. Like, you start the game out, and, you know, everyone has a class pre-configured, and then after about an hour, it gives you 6 extra classes that you can play, and everyone gets to have 2 classes equipped. Now they've just let me equip 3 classes and given me another half dozen of the things. And so, you know, they all have, like, passive effects to stats that they provide, and different sets of abilities that, you know, so you have like 20 attacks to choose from at any given time, provided you wait enough turns to build up the MP to use them.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool system, and it uses it's not an active time battle. Jesus Christ!
That's really quite dreadful. Are you scratching your anus with the microphone?
I'm not doing fucking anything.
The best
It
part
sounds
about
like you
it.
fucking are!
The best part about it is the way it stopped when you said something, and then afterwards made a noise in response, as if it was just saying, "Well, fuck you."
I don't know what's going on here.
Something's happening. Maybe you've got Beatles in the laptop.
Is the
Maybe-
microphone? Do you have the correct microphone selected? Is the microphone exposed somehow, or are you moving your head at any point? Is
Maybe-
it brushing
okay,
up against
let-
something? Oh, that's much better. Oh, okay. So where were we?
Plenty arcade game.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like an active time battle system, where you and the enemy, based on your speed, it has little pictures of the heads, and they slide from left to right. And as they reach the right, they get closer to taking their action. But before they hit the point of taking the action, they get a point where it allows you to, put in the command that they're going to execute. So there's a brief time that passes between when you give them the command and when they execute it. And you can interrupt enemies while they're in that space and send them way back on the timeline. So you can juggle enemy actions and prevent them from ever getting to attack, which is cool. And because enemies become more powerful with every turn they take, you can limit that too and drag out battles. But then the problem with that is that if you don't like dragging out battles, it's going to get tough. I still feel like I'm pretty early in the game, and I'm already seeing some enemy battles in the Coliseum area where I was like, oh, I'm not prepared for this at all. So, yeah. Still, it's fun. I am enjoying it.
Cool. It amazes me just the versatility that they still have in role-playing game battle systems. When you've got companies trying to move away from turn-based and all that kind of thing, and there are still developers, nearly always these indie guys, just doing really unique things with it. I love the idea of that whole juggling system that they've got going on there. And it's a shame it's become, at least in the mainstream area, such an old-fashioned idea that they don't want to do it anymore, because I still like it. I like even traditional. A lot of people slagged off Lost Odyssey for being too traditional, but I liked it, and I like it when they do unique things with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I really liked the Hothead games for what they were. I thought they were very entertaining. This one seems to be, it's different, but at least it has the spirit. So that's fun.
Yeah, I like Zeboid as well. I played. I've got Breath of Death. I haven't gotten around to playing it, but I have played some Cthulhu, and it's a cool little game.
I played a lot of Cthulhu, and then, I don't know, eventually I think the combat system in it was just so kind of tedious that I got burnt out on it after a while. It is pretty simplistic, and if you want to be successful at it, you kind of have to do a bit of grinding. But it was really funny, and that was the thing that stuck out to me, is that a lot of times people glom onto the Lovecraft stuff, and they try to be silly and goofy and use these characters and figures, but this was genuinely funny and had a lot more of the influence of the mythos in it than most of this guy. He knew what he was talking about, and I appreciated that. It was a fun game.
Yeah, that's what you want, because you get people because obviously Cthulhu especially has become this pop culture icon type character, and it's good when you see someone who actually knows what they're talking about do it, rather than just, ha, here is Cthulhu doing a funny thing.
Yeah. There's a really good, every opportunity I get, there's a book, it's called Resume with Monsters. It's probably been out of print forever. It was put out by Borealis Press. And it's by William Browning Spencer, and the blurb on the back, nobody could have put it better. It's if Woody Allen had written a Cthulhu Mythos story. It's absolutely hilarious, and if you're at all into the Cthulhu stuff and you want something that's smart and funny and a little bit horror, Resume with Monsters is fantastic. That guy is probably rotting in Texas somewhere, and he put out like 4 books and then disappeared.
Resume with Monsters.
Yes.
That sounds tempting. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Hamza.
No, we totally lost Hamza.
Is he totally gone? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, like he unplugged his mic or something, or I don't know.
Still showing us on.
He's still connected.
Yeah.
What? You can't hear me?
There we go.
There we go. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, that's weird.
Well,
I'm here.
Hello.
I heard all that. Cthulhu. Ooh, giant monster with a squid face. Ooh.
But he's a giant monster with a squid face who's sleeping in a city underwater, and he can shrink himself down to be tiny too. Let's not, he's sort of non-size specific. I'm just saying.
Cool.
Hamza, you were away last week.
Yes.
Playing with the Wii U.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I did.
That is the thing you did, and would you like to talk about that again before Holmes comes and I totally forget talking about games, because while he's gone, I might as well at least get some interesting Wii U stuff
Well, I
talked
wish I
about.
could tell you interesting Wii U stuff, except everything they showed off was exactly the same stuff they had at E3.
Oh, Nintendo! That's your
This
fault.
was
That's your fault for being insatiable, according to Reggie.
Yes, that is totally my fault. I am sorry, Reggie, my meat face lord and savior. I mean, this was mostly just for the people who couldn't make it to E3, and this actually worked out for me too because I did not play the Wii U at all at E3. The only time I did was to make a penis joke for Jonathan Holmes's E3 montage video. I picked up Scribblenauts Unlimited at their booth and tried to write penis, as a command for Scribblenauts dude, and it didn't work, but it was funny in the camera and stuff, whatever. Um, so yeah, they had a Nintendo Land, Pikmin, Mario, P100, and a couple other games, but I think P100 was probably the most interesting game of everything they had there. I really like the quirkiness. It's a very Japanese, like old school, like Clover type game. I mean, it's from Platinum Games, who used to be Clover. It's basically you're a bunch of superheroes running around a level, working together to fight an alien invasion. It's really, really weird, and I think that's why I really liked it, because it's nothing like we were expecting to see for... I mean, they're showing Mario, they're showing Pikmin, and all these traditional Nintendo games, which to me was kind of boring, actually, after seeing all that stuff at the press conference.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little strange.
Quite. Yeah, if anything, I think the things that the weakest were the main Nintendo stuff, because I mean they look great, but it's Pikmin 3 is more the same as the past Pikmin games. New Super Mario Bros. Is not even fucking trying. It's just a port of the DS version or whatever.
I kind of have to feel for Reggie a little bit on this sort of stuff, because it is really oftentimes a case of, give us Pikmin, give us Mario, give us this, give us something new, man. It's the same boring shit you're always giving us. We're never going to be happy. Nintendo will never satisfy us.
Well, I think what ended up hurting them is that they showed off a lot of stuff the year prior for the Wii U. They teased a Zelda. They hyped up the next Smash Bros. And there were some other interesting things they showed off. And then really their main focus this year ended up just being Nintendo Land, which is fun in its own right, but it's not that core game I guess everyone was expecting either. Because especially with the way they've been promoting the Wii U as being, it's not just going to be for grandpa and your kids anymore. It's going to be for everyone. By the way, here's Nintendo Land. Woo!
Yeah, I'm not interested in Nintendo Land at all. I'm glad we're getting this out of the way now, though.
Yeah,
before there's anyone here to defend it.
Yeah. Holmes would be like, no, man, Nintendo Land's awesome.
So that's what upset me, because I really wanted Conrad and Jonathan on the podcast together. And then I was going to bring up art games and then just sit back and get the afternoon off.
I'm glad we had that conversation, and I'm equally glad that we had it privately but talked about it publicly.
Yeah.
So that people can wonder at what was said, because it really wasn't terribly interesting, and now it's been built up to a level that we're like, oh, who cares? It's a bunch of pretentious bullshit. And the worst part is that I'm making art school arguments, and I've never attended one. It's...
I was wondering what was up with that. I was actually looking for the email because I figured I muted it like weeks ago because we get some heavy arguments on our emails, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to read this anymore.
I don't blame you. I don't want to read them anymore either, but they keep progressing, so I can't stop them.
Jonathan's been pooping.
What?
Oh, I understand.
He says he's been ready, but he's showing up as offline. I'll give him a call anyway. I'm going to stop this recording because it will just cut off, and then call him back, recommence. But I love knowing that he's had a shit. That is That is capital. That is the gold standard. So I'm just going to stop this recording and then bring it back on. The listener won't really tell much of a difference, but fucking...
Holmes is here.
Oh, yeah. Of course I
Hey,
can.
what's wrong with your mic?
Oh
I'm
dear.
learning to play the Podtoid game.
About him.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong, Holmes?
Sad.
Little rocks blinking there, Jim. Bet you're saying some really funny stuff.
Oh, he can't hear us again.
Oh
Uh,
no. Oh, poor man.
Now I can hear you?
Can you
Can
hear
you hear me
us?
No.
Oh.
Saying, whenever I have a text field now on my computer, everything turns blue.
What?
Blue in there. No one knows why.
I think for next PAX
This is a new
East,
computer. He just bought this.
Oh my Christ,
I think-
fathers.
the next time one of us is in Boston, we just need to go to his house and figure this shit out
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. And then tell him never to touch it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like he's King Midas, except instead of turning things into gold by touching them, he turns computers into anything that isn't a computer by touching it.
Conrad's just like, boop.
Oh,
Just like,
man.
because he's the chatty one.
Honestly, though,
I am the chatty one, aren't I? Son of a bitch.
So,
I really should just mute
Start recording
us
this.
every week. I've got it recording, don't worry. I should just mute everyone else every week, regardless of whether he can patch in or not, and just have him talking to himself for 2 hours, because it's pretty awesome.
It's really sad.
People like hearing him just talk to
Yeah, that's
himself. It's good for business. So that's something else I'm going to suggest, an isolation booth. Jonathan, can you hear me? I don't know why I'm shouting and putting my hand to my mouth as if it'll help.
You're talking to somebody who speaks a foreign language.
Oh God, I mean, just do what you did last week. Oh, he's gone.
We lost it.
Welcome back, listeners.
Hello. Oh, it's all gone wrong forever. Every week. We can't get into just a working condition and then leave it alone. It'll be his headphones more often than not. And he'll buy new ones, and then they will break.
I know, he literally just bought this machine a week and a half ago. How could, I mean, it's mind-boggling.
It's upsetting.
'Cause the last time he had a computer issue on a show, that it was a Sup Holmes episode, and there was like 10 minutes left in the program, and his computer just stopped working, like, entirely. Just, I don't know what, just stopped, and he was gone, and we're sitting there live. We wrapped up real quick, and he's like, I'm going out and buying a new computer today. So this is the new computer, and he's already destroyed that.
What did he buy?
I have no idea.
You see,
I think he just needs to get himself a Mac, because that's really...
well, that's it. It's like, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, get yourself a Mac, guy, if you've got problems. But he's tried everything on the computer side. Just
No,
by process of
I agree,
elimination,
too.
he should get a Mac.
Yeah, and I feel like it's more... Oh, this is mean. Idiot-proof. I'm not necessarily saying that he's an idiot. Like,
It's harder to fuck up for anyone. I mean, I fuck things up.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for someone who is, I guess, less accustomed to using Windows and computers in general, Mac is easier to pick up. Like, I use a Mac and I don't have a clue what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah. Hey, Jonathan, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
That's a
Thrilled.
step in the right direction.
okay. So we've moved a step closer now to fix the fact that you sound like fucking shit.
Are you
That's the
driving
next-
down the street with your head out the window?
Are you recording this doggy car style?
No,
No.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's.
Is there a fan on?
A fan?
There's like a buzzing, like a windy noise.
I'm your fan, Jonathan, and I'm always switched on when I talk to you.
Yeah, it sounds
About my
like there's an
erect
oscillating
penis.
fan. It seems to come in and out.
Yeah. You're not outside in a meadow or glade.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's getting a bit better.
I changed it to the computer's microphone.
That's what we... Yeah, that always seems to... We always have to do some kind of weird Frankenstein way of connecting you.
And every week after we do the show, I test my headset to make sure, oh, it's working, and then, oh, blah, 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 and then everything's, oh, it'll be great next week, and then, bang. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Maybe it's all right now. Do you want to just do the show with me sounding like this now, or no?
I mean... What did we do last week? Let's try and retrace our steps.
I just tried to...
Let's CSI this motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I tried that. I can try it again. Maybe if I plug it in and out.
Okay.
It's in and out now. Yeah, I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna walk you through what I'm doing, guys.
Okay. Go to your tools and check what the microphone status is.
Yeah, I'm changing it to
Another one now. See if I sound like a demon again. How do I sound now?
You sound very strange, but the background is... It's kind of a rainy kind of... I'm getting a very soothing, falling water effect. Yeah. That's not suitable for broadcast, though.
Oh, it's fun to experiment, though.
I would like you to do just a Jonathan Holmes audio cassette. We'll call it Relaxing Moods with Rainy Jonathan.
Jason! Sorry.
Sean!
Jonathan, you still there?
No.
I guess the new
Gone
one will be
again.
Ellen Page!
God.
Ellen!
Oh, David Cage doesn't want the same things I do. That's just what it comes down to. He wants to make games more like movies, I think. And that's fine. But I don't care.
I want his
I don't
next
want
game
that.
to be just him sat on a glass fucking pedestal. Naked as the day he was born, with a huge erect penis, and he's just pointing at it and saying, I'm David Cage. Look
At
at
least
my
that would be
penis."
honest. At least that would be honest.
Yeah, this is the penis of an auteur. The auteur of games, look at my penis and just embrace it. I'm David Cage.
Yo,
Welcome to my game.
I hope there's ghost sex.
There
No
should-
game has ever explored ghost sex. I want Ellen Page to get railed by his ghost in the game.
Definitely, and I want it really awkwardly animated to the point where it looks like it's two people who don't even know what sex is.
Unchained Melody playing in the background.
Yes. Perfect. And then he should just call the game Ghost Sex.
I wish this was a real game.
Let's try calling Jonathan again.
Ghost
That'll
Sex.
fuck the recording up. I know, he's still here.
He's connected.
Oh my fucking lord.
You know what? He's the ghost now. He's the ghost,
He is the ghost at the feast.
and he'll sex us with
Ah.
his poos.
I would love to have... I wonder if he'd be up for doing a Flatliners type thing. If we can simulate a state of near death with Jonathan in the hopes that a ghost will come out and have sex with me.
What?
Hello, Jonathan. How would you like to nearly die and be a ghost and have sex with me? Up the arse.
I would, I guess, if my choices were to have sex with you with a body or without one, I would.
You'll go with the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Cosby did. Have you guys seen Ghost Dad? It's been on TV a lot lately.
We were talking about David Cage's new game, Ghost Sex.
Yeah, it's just basically, it's just a rip off of Ghost Dad. It's so like, I'm
The
gonna.
Bill
have-
Cosby movie, Ghost Dad.
Yeah, he comes.
Yeah,
in,
okay.
I'm dead. He says to his wife, and she's like, "No, you're not." And she shines a light on him, and then he turns transparent, but he still pays the bills and still has sex with her and stuff. He's just.
So, okay. So if we can convince David Cage to make Beyond, a ghost Bill Cosby having sex with Ellen Page.
Oh my
I
god.
think we're in
You're
agreement.
onto something here.
Yeah, that's GOTY material right there.
Game of the.
If
Oh,
Bill Cosby's still alive, he can voice him.
He could do it, yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
He's nuts. He'll do anything.
you see Ellen Page with the boop and doing it. That was terrible.
The
Yeah,
hippin' and the hoppin' and the frippin' and the froppin' with the pudding pops.
It's hard. Yours was honest. Mine was I hated it.
I had a nightmare once.
Yeah.
This is true. I had a nightmare where I was I got a job working at an electronics store. I was unemployed at the time. This was like an unemployed fear dream.
Mm.
And I'd gotten a job working at an electronics store. It was kind of this weird outlet, like it was like a Fry's Electronics, but inside a mall. Terrifying. And this friend of mine had gotten me the job, and she was going to get me a ride home, but had to bail. And she's like, "No, it's cool. You can get a ride with my father." And it turns out her father is like Bill Cosby. And so he's driving me home, and I'm sitting in the back seat because he's got some friend of his, and he's like, he's not, like Bill Huxtable, Cosby. He's like Thug Cosby. And he's wearing these narrow sunglasses that are just these narrow rectangular frames so that you can see the top of his eyes over them, and it's creepy as shit. And he just keeps looking at me in his center rear view mirror. And it just like, I'm feeling really threatened and uncomfortable, and he's looking back at me, and then I see this guy like run out into the street, and he just hits him. And he's like, "Oh, fuck this shit, I ain't going back to jail," and floors it. And all of a sudden I hear these police sirens all around me. I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going to die." And that's when I woke up.
What a great dream. What were the aspects of him that were like Bill Cosby, though? Because
He was Bill Cosby. He was actually Bill Cosby. It was him.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I love your ideas and your dreams.
Why isn't David Cage making games about that?
I don't know.
Why is he wasting his fucking time?
He's much cheaper than Ellen Page in terms of.
That is true. If we're just riding in a car with scary Cosby eyes looking at you in the mirror, and you've got to try and smoke a cigarette without him seeing, and the eyes are just shifting, and you've got to make sure they're not looking at you while you take a drag on a cigarette that he can't see.
That'd be really fun.
And if he sees you, he'll stop in that car, he'll fucking drag you out, and it's all in first person, so you'll be immersed in the terror. He'll just drag you out that car, and he'll just fucking beat you. He will fucking, like, clubbed and swinging down on your back as he holds your head.
And this is all while I'd assume the Cosby Show music would be going.
Yeah, definitely. And he's just screaming, "Don't smoke in my fucking car! Don't you smoke in my fucking car! I don't smoke, and I don't fucking breathe non-smoke in your face all fucking day. You fucking..." And he'll say it like this with an English accent and all. "You fucking idiot."
That would be wonderful. I would,
See, this is why...
$60 sold.
Damn right.
Please take my money.
Cage gets to make games and I don't.
Well, yeah.
There's no justice in this world, is there?
Absolutely no justice.
He's older than you, though. I bet you'll get there. I would not be surprised if by the time you're...
He shouldn't be older than me.
He
The
is.
way he writes dialogue and relationships and sex, he shouldn't be older than me. He should be closer to my stepson's age.
Whoa. That was a sick
Sick burn.
If he thinks that's how sex works, he didn't even end that scene with the customary apology.
What's the customary apology?
That's the bit you do after sex. Everyone knows that.
Sorry.
Good God,
Right.
try and learn a bit about the adult world, Jonathan. You watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you make a few bad decisions, and then you say sorry. That's called sex.
Was one of those bad decisions watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Hey!
Is that the first in a series of bad decisions?
Conrad,
That's a great series.
Conrad, you said Buffy the... why would you do that?
No, I'm just wondering. I was never really into the... I'm not a Whedon fan. I like Dr. Horrible. That's
Yeah.
Firefly was okay.
What?
I like Serenity a little bit.
Conrad, you don't like something I like. This isn't... What?
I mean, it's...
I'm having a mental shutdown.
To be fair, I have not sat down and watched it, and I lived with a rather interesting man who was obsessed with the show, and his room smelled of sweat and month-old Thai food. And so that's something that I associate with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series.
That is
so,
the way it's watched. We watch it as a family, and I have a bucket of sweat in my office that I sort of just splash like gasoline around the front room. We order in some Thai food, and then we've got ourselves an optimal Buffy viewing lounge. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, you're not wrong to make that association.
See, yeah, because it was that and Briscoe County Jr., neither of which were entertaining enough on their own to warrant the stench. But I tell you what, a few people have told me lately that I need to give Buffy a chance, so maybe I will do that.
You don't have to.
Well, I need another lengthy series. I'm out of stuff to watch. I mean, in the last 6 months, I've watched all of Star Trek. I've watched all of Battlestar Galactica. I watched The Wire already once this year. I can't watch The Wire twice in a year. I'll kill myself.
Doctor Who? Doctor Who's good.
I've watched all of Doctor Who. I'm current.
Oh, yeah.
If only for season 3 of Buffy it's worth watching. Season 3 is rather masterful. The big bad of that season is excellent. So...
Well, and I appreciate Whedon's contributions to narrative design and to, the idea of season-length story arcs, which was something that we didn't see happening as much in our, sci-fi series until he came along and really did that with Buffy. Him and Straczynski with Babylon 5. Those were the big boys for that kind of thing. And it really... It really has propelled television drama in a lot of ways. So I appreciate its contribution, but I have never really got into the characters. So I'll give it a try.
And obviously, Podtoid being loosely based off Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think it's good for you to immerse yourself in that lore.
Right.
So I do consider this podcast's unofficially, for now, set within the Buffyverse.
Really?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Who is what in this?
Well, it's just this podcast exists within the universe of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sorry, I couldn't finish that.
Yeah, wait, you don't...
Buffy could download us.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Right.
I wouldn't be so arrogant as to assume Buffy the Vampire...
None of the known characters on the show have ever listened to the podcast.
No. Giles is more of a Bombcast fan, for instance. So none of them actually listen to
what was Seth Green's character? I'm sure he listened to Kotaku Radio or something, whatever they do.
Yeah, he looks like someone who would. I don't even know what that meant. I don't know why I was...
Hence was still there.
Yeah, I just as an apology to Kotaku, I've got nothing but the utmost respect for. I'm not going to say...
Yeah, I just assumed that they wouldn't listen to us. I wasn't trying to say anything wrong about Kotaku.
Yeah, sorry, I often do, but I would never stoop so low as to say that your listeners of your whatever podcast you might do all look like Seth Green. A few of them may, but that's not for me to speculate on. But no.
As opposed to the listeners of this podcast, who are all, of course, gorgeous.
Oh yeah, they all look like Alison Hannigans, but they're not Alison Hannigans as Willow when depicted in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because Willow doesn't listen to Podtoid.
Right.
As Conrad rightly surmised, none of them do. I just like to imagine that this podcast is set in a world where they would have the opportunity to listen to it.
We did get a recent bit of fan mail, subject title, Anal Fantasy. From a beautiful woman who's just like, I've just been thinking about what you and Jim are going to do on your wedding night, and I'm so excited for you. And what's your cake? And I'm just like, what? And I trace it back. Who's this from? And yep, lo and behold, it's like a beautiful woman who's
How do you know it's a beautiful woman?
Because
he asked her for nude pics.
Oh, I did not.
He did. He's notorious for it. He's always abusing his position to get nude pictures.
I really do love nude pictures. It's true.
Now he's not going to ask, and all of these women are going to feel so dejected that he didn't ask them for nude pics because he asks everyone.
Interested in the nude pictures of human beings.
Now, Holmes, now you have to ask, just for the sake of the self-esteem of our female listeners. You
Just
have
to
to
keep
ask
up
for nude
appearances.
pics.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you don't ask them, they'll be saying what's wrong with me that he wouldn't ask me for nude pics, please, lol.
To be very clear, I'm really not interested in nude pictures of anyone. I'm sick of nude people a lot. Seen a lot.
You can't mow your lawn without them coming out of holes in the ground. Just nude people everywhere. You shake a tree and they just fall out and hit your car and get their cracked sweat all down your windshield.
I actually wanted to make a show like that once.
Would it be like that Star Trek episode with all the tribbles, but with William Shatner in the middle of a pile of naked, fat old men?
It was going to be like that. I wrote a theme song for it and stuff, but I never made it. That was back in art school days when I was doing stuff all the time. Bad ideas just constantly being made and stuff like that. I still like that a little bit, but it was more excessive back then, back in the early 2000s. So anyway, I feel like I've messed up the whole show. Should I just leave? I feel terrible.
No.
No?
It didn't get entertaining until you got here.
That is true. I mean, the only problem is you still sound really...
Awful.
Yeah. Like I'm hearing echoes of the past. like someone who used to live in this house, but their memories linger.
I can
It's
turn
like
down-
you're inside of a hope chest with a pair of pillows over your head that's in the back of a trailer being driven to California.
Wow. I've turned down my microphone. I am louder.
Oh, there we go.
Is that really good now?
That's actually much better.
Yeah.
Really? I'll be authoritative.
That's a bit better, yeah.
Okay, then. Just
Oh, dear.
like that.
This will not be awkward at all.
No.
So what video game things did you guys talk about on the show already today?
Hey, Jonathan,
Yes?
when are you and I going to start Tokyo drifting?
You mean like the unofficial sport, the racing sport that happens?
Illegal street racing.
Illegal street racing, yes.
Mm-hmm. Can you drive a car or not?
I can drive some cars.
Brilliant. You'll be the driver, and I'll be the man sat next to you.
What? why do I have to drive?
Huh?
Okay.
Because
I'm
you
not-
can drive. I can't. I come from a pedestrianised country because we're civilised.
You really don't drive a car?
No, I'm civilised.
So you just want me to drive a car fast and you sit in there.
In Tokyo? Right? For God's sake, Jonathan, here's how it's going to go, right?
Actually, you may be onto something. You may have a real weight advantage when it comes to drifting.
Oh.
Or at least in one direction.
Oh, make fun of Jim's weight. But I'm not all that skinny either. I weigh more than a black bear, I found out today.
What?
Yeah, there was a weight competition, and I weigh more than the black bear.
Like a full-size adult black bear?
Yeah, I outweigh the black bear by about 20 pounds, Hamza.
That doesn't make sense.
That's how much I weigh, dog. All I can tell you. They took that bear and they were like, who's fatter? It's me.
Why were you in a competition with a black bear?
Why not?
So anyway, we're going to Tokyo drift. And I might be onto something because I think there's a real weight advantage, at least in one direction, which is just this. It's this idea I cooked up. So I'll sit next to you, right, and then I'll lean, and then you'll drift, okay? And I'll sign us up for illegal street races. How does that sound?
We will die.
I don't think we'll die. I've watched a trailer. I've watched a trailer for Too Fast, Too Furious. And
Not even the one in Tokyo.
if Vin Diesel's can do it, we can, because he's fucking stupid.
He's an actor.
He's a fucking idiot. He's an idiot, and he's Tokyo drifting, and we're not, making us look like chumps. Are you going to take that shit from Vin Diesel? He said you're a gay. He did.
He said you weigh more than a black bear.
Yes!
I do. I weigh like 30
No,
pounds.
he said you weigh more than 5 black bears and they're all Winnie the Pooh ones eating honey and being fat.
That would be really awesome. If
That's what he did. And he said, I've got all these muscles. This is exactly what he said. He was like, I've got all these muscles. And Jonathan is like a fat bear.
Why are you speaking like Sylvester Stallone?
Because they all sound the same to me. Muscular actors should go back to muscular actory, Stan.
It's more like a gravelly voice.
Is it?
Vin Diesel's, yeah.
No, I think he's. Yeah. I don't know, but I think he's. Yeah. Something like that, right? Anyway, no, I'm not going to drive a fast car in Tokyo. I don't even know.
How about if Hamza was in the back seat with a huge map being a comedy Asian?
I technically am Asian,
There you go.
so I could do it.
Because we'll be Tokyo drifting, so we'll be in Tokyo.
Comedy Asian?
Yeah, that's what you need. This is how these things work, right?
I'd be like the short round from Indiana Jones.
That's
Dr. Jones!
We need a short round style character, or like that one from Bloodsport, because if you set a scheme or a story or an adventure in an Asian country, heaven forbid you have the Asian as the central star. That's just how it goes. I don't make the rules, right?
It's not done.
Exactly. You have the wisecracking white guy. That's me. You have the tough as nails street urban guy. That's you, Jonathan. And we have the comedy short round Asian, which Hamza will be, and he'll like hold a map upside down and go, oh no, I don't know where we're going.
Oh no, we go round turn.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that. I wanted you to, but I didn't want to tell you to say it because then I would be called racist. But it's okay. It's not racist if you make them do it. It's the rule. So, I mean, has that made you feel any better about partaking in illegal street races?
So we're just more racist now. It's just racist.
No!
Doesn't make it better.
It's less
at all.
racist.
I can't even read the signs.
It's less racist because Hamza said he's kind of an Asian.
Technically, I'm Asian.
So it's technicality.
Technically, yeah.
It can't be racist.
Japanese accent. That's not racist.
No, it's more like Chinese. I'm thinking like Dr. Jones.
in Japan. So
Yeah, and we will call him Short Round.
Yeah.
Right? Short Round, your name is going to be Strawberry Fontaine.
Strawberry Fontaine, got it.
Wow.
Dr. Jones.
So how about that, huh?
No, I won't do it.
This is ridiculous.
Not
Why? Why?
Not- What?
Why?
Because how am I going to get a car there? What? I can't read the signs.
We'll steal one.
Conrad.
We will.
Conrad's there already. He's going to provide us with some vehicles of our choosing.
Who is?
Actually, no, Conrad, actually, I've got a job for Conrad. Conrad is going to be the rival one.
Oh, that makes sense.
He's going to be your rival, Jonathan, who you really want to get one over on because he got you arrested on suspicion of lewd images of a minor.
Wow.
And that's the history you've got. It's like Twister, the film Twister, but with cars and child pornography. And and Conrad will be like, he'll wear smart clothes and always be drinking wine and a cigar. Are you up for this, Conrad?
Yeah,
Yo,
cigars too.
See, Conrad's up for it, and he'll like sneer all the time and say, "Ha ha, I am better at doing a race than you." And you'll be
rub his
like,
mustache.
yeah, and you'll grind your teeth and you'll throw your driving glove on the floor and say, "Oh, the glove been thrown down," and then they'll know that it's on because the glove.
Well, clearly the glove was thrown. And that means it's on.
As soon as the glove been thrown down, that's how you got to say it. The glove been thrown down. Because you're urban, and that's when the people, like the legions of fans, will watch on the street, and they will go, "Ooh," because they know that it been thrown down.
So we're in Tokyo. They speak a whole lot of English. I know they teach English there, and it's not.
They do. pretty much, I think all of them say OK USA whenever you talk to them, and they know you are American.
Yeah, I could not speak English to a lot of people in my brief time in Tokyo. I think, have we all been to... You've been, Jim. Hans has been. Have you been there, Conrad? I can't remember.
I've not been. I think I'm going to be going this year.
Oh, that's exciting.
Excellent. Then we can call ourselves the Tokyo Boys.
Yeah, so my experience in Tokyo, English didn't do you too much good. You had to be able to read Japanese. Very hard to drive there, very congested, terrifying street conditions, congested, very, very good driving from what I could tell. I didn't see any accidents, but I would have been horrified if I had to drive even more than 20 miles per hour there, let alone racing a
It'd
car.
be thrilling, yeah, it'd be thrilling.
Yeah, I would be thrilled in the same way I'm thrilled when I just get mugged or something. It's very exciting.
Have you ever been mugged?
Yeah, I've been mugged by some street toughs years ago.
Should we go find them?
No. They.
Should the Tokyo Boys go find them and tell them that the glove bin throw down?
They were young men with a knife.
Right. Well, then we will be old men with a glove.
They will stab us in the stomach.
We will give them what for.
Yeah, damn right. We'll give them a piece of our mind.
Sure, they will.
We'll tan their ruddy hides.
They will likely be annoyed that we didn't fear getting stabbed, but we stabbed, and then they will win.
I'll just stand in front. At the end of the day, right, they've stabbed me. What are the chances of them penetrating deep enough to get an organ? Minimal.
Oh, that hurt you.
Once I've absorbed the knife, the rest of the Tokyo Boys can throw down.
I will punch a guy who tries to stab you, that's for sure.
I
won't let a friend get stabbed, a good friend. I'll let some friends get stabbed.
Well, see, we are good friends, and that is why I will come to Baltimore, or wherever it is you live this week.
Okay.
And, we'll get some of those transfer tattoos, so that they know that we're tough. We'll put on some of those iron-on, water tattoos. Temporary.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to... I don't want to look like that when I'm 80. So we'll get some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Temporary tattoos to show that we are tough. We'll wear t-shirts, white t-shirts, and just draw on in marker, just write Tokyo Boys.
With a Z.
With a Z? Fucking hell, you see? Hamza is he's got an eye for fashion here. So, Tokyo Boys with a Z. We will go we'll look for the people that mugged you.
That was so long ago, and dollars, and we will get stabbed, and I don't want to do any of your ideas.
That stings, Jonathan.
Feedback. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
I'm trying to protect your honor as your life partner.
I did carry around nunchucks for a solid year after that.
Have you still got nunchucks?
Yeah, I do. I have several pairs of nunchucks.
Brilliant. So you bring nunchucks. I won't ask to borrow any of yours. I'll make mine out of some sticks and string. And then we'll clean up the streets of Boston.
Oh, you remembered. Ugh, that's too bad. That is around it. Yeah, Boston. I'm always afraid I'm just going to look out my window and then just see his
Jonathan,
face.
I've got your address. I send you review things.
That's
One
true.
day I will send myself. And you will have to review me.
That's actually not the address where I live. Not for that reason, but for reasons like that. So, but yeah, you're right. I'll open the package eventually, and I'll be Jim in there.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yep.
If I sent myself to you for you to play with and review on Destructoid, would you do it?
I don't know. Yes. I mean, what does play mean? I'd play.
You will have to be professional and examine all of my working features.
Can I wear gloves? I mean,
What?
do I have to? Yeah, I mean, what do I?
Do you wear gloves when you review video games?
When I'm touching a human being, which I do have to do sometimes at my other job, I do wear gloves. Yeah.
Is your other job reviewing?
In a way, but not like.
No, but you review the Riddler and the Scorpion and that sort of stuff. Super villains.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I do. You do actually give people a score. You review human beings like you review games on a score they call the GAF scale, and most people when they
The
get
gaff scale.
and most people, depending on their level of functioning, like I would probably score like a 60 out of 100. The Dalai Lama is probably would score like a 95, and a lot of people are in the psychiatric hospital get like 20s and 30s.
This is fun. What would I get?
Oh, wow. That's tough.
This should be good. This should be very good.
Well, I mean...
Give me a full psychic evaluation, Dr. Holmes.
You're difficult to assess, Jim, because...
Because I am like the Joker. I am iconic.
Well, yeah, you have to take a look at what someone's goals are and if they're meeting them. And your goals... I think you're meeting your goals, but
I've met all my goals. I've told you this before. Everything I want to do in life is done. That's why I'm focusing on your life now.
That's what makes it hard. I mean...
That is what makes it hard. Do you get that, Jonathan? Do you get it?
I do.
Do you get it? My tumescent penis.
Tumescent? Whew. What's that mean?
I love that word. Thank you for using the word tumescent.
That's a great word.
You absolutely.
Oh man, you just gave me a vocab boner. Which, by the way, tumescent means engorged, swollen.
I'll remember that. Sure. Tumescent. I was thinking about boners. You're talking about them. Jim's on sad. Let's talk about those video games, Jim.
You have to worry about your mental state if you're constantly thinking about boners. I mean, even, I'm not saying there's anything wrong to think about boners, but the amount of times you do is it borders on the obsessive.
I am a little concerned for your welfare, Jonathan.
Oh, you too, Conrad? Oh. Oh, I don't think about boners. Only when people say, hey, boners. Does sometimes. Then I do
does that?
Yes, about a boner.
I don't know what the boner you're talking about.
You talk to me about penises sometimes.
You are so beautiful to me. Boners.
That could be a hit. If Pitbull can be a hit, Jim, that can be a hit too.
Damn right.
Pitbull. So you reviewed Revelation 2012, Jim. It's your hot new review. Did you talk about it already on the show? People should know about it.
I haven't, no. It was... Yeah, fuck that game.
That's the lowest score I've ever seen you give a game.
I've given it a couple of ones before.
What else?
Often.
Remember? What else you gave a 1 to?
A 1.5 went to Amy.
Yep.
A straight 1 went to... I forget the full title. I think it was Dead or Alive Paradise. It was a PSP, one of those Dead or Alive Extreme.
But it wasn't even a volleyball game, right?
No, it was just women parading around. There were some mini games, and it wasn't even worth a wank because the images were poorly compressed. So the women, the children, with huge breasts, parading around in their brasiers and bikinis, had these black dots all over them, so it looked like they were just covered head to toe in blackheads. Which isn't that erotic. It isn't very erotic, Jonathan.
Some people probably like it. I don't know.
If you got a particular interest, yeah, maybe. But yeah, that was the one that I remember. I don't remember giving any other... Oh no, I gave a 1 to Kane and Lynch Dog Days as well.
Don't forget about Eternia Odyssey and Hydrophobia.
Whoa.
I gave Hydrophobia a 3.
Oh.
I don't remember that other one.
Oh, Eternia's Child.
That was Reverend Anthony. And he gave everything a 1.
Conrad 2 was on that episode.
Yeah, I was on that too.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly agreed. But everyone forgot that I had anything to do with that, including Luke Bernard, who I've talked to on several occasions, and he's bitched about the review, and then I've accidentally reminded him or not, and then he forgets again. It's great.
Yeah, Luke's a good guy.
Yay, alcoholism.
He's just busy.
He's cleaned up. Last time I talked to him, he didn't seem crazy like he used to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's grown up a lot. He was 21 or something when Eternity's Child came out. He'd been making games since he was 14. So God bless him. He's working on some secret stuff. He emails me every once in a while. It looks really good. One thing about Luke Bernard is he gets really good people to work with him and share his vision. And he's got some really great artists on this Kickstarter project he's working on. I can't say much more than that.
Woo! Kickstarter.
Yeah, you know, works. I can't believe how much.
I think Holmes coming to us from inside the Tron world now.
Oh no! Do I sound terrible again?
It's been this subtle slide.
You're audible, like you're understandable, but behind you, the whole last bit you were talking, there's just womp 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 womp.
That's awful.
It was so cool, actually.
Is it better now? Does it sound better?
Much better now.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got it in all the time.
Um,
Dry and secure. Jim.
But back to the review that went up today.
Jim Sterling.
Oh yeah.
Given a 1-2, which is the one that you wish you could have gone even lower?
Yeah, I mean, I would have given it a 0, but I needed. I don't usually. Well, I never worry about Metacritic outside of just seeing what quote of mine they used out of sheer narcissism. But this is one of those ones where I want it on permanent record from an outside source because I care that strongly about making sure people don't buy this. They made an amateur team, and I think people are expecting. I know the developers have asked. They've gone on the Steam forums and practically asked for lenience due to the fact they're an amateur team. But they're an amateur team. They made a fucking mod of Left 4 Dead and then charged, I think originally, at least $15 for the fucking thing. I only found out today that the $9.99 they're selling it for was a deal, was a reduction in price that they made after proudly telling the fans they were listening. So no mercy on that. They're doing a lot of damage control today because a lot of stuff happened. That I found that blog, that Valid Gamers or something blog, which was the source of much merriment this morning on Twitter, as me and a bunch of guys were just sharing it around because there's some amazing stuff written on there. And one was this fantastic review of Revelations that they did back in January, where they gave it a hugely glowing praise and said how unique the game is, and it's got very innovative and unique characters. Right, they said that the characters were unique right next to a picture of a man with a buzz cut and a t-shirt that said Army written across it, who looked like every character ever. So,
That's a little worse.
Yeah, they've been pleading for clemency on the Steam forums, the official Revelations Steam forum, because they're an amateur team and they just want to show the world how far they've come. Don't charge for it in that case. That's my biggest problem here. Don't ask for $10 for a game where you're just trying to show the world how far you've come. And if that's the world how far you've come, then wow.
Keep going, stop. I'm wondering where.
It's one of those things where there are so many. Where telling them to keep going and telling them to stop, both are serviceable insults, and I just couldn't choose. Yeah. So keep going until you stop.
Well, but if you tell them to keep going, that's encouraging. At least you're saying you might do something of measure or quality at some point, but this wasn't it, and you released prematurely.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, it's like my instincts. I'm not a nasty person by nature. I'm really not. I always try. Yeah, I always try and be a nice guy. Everything I do with Jonathan is out of love and kindness.
A sick kind of love, but
a beautiful kind of romance.
Right.
And against my better judgment, I get this pang of, I've seen photos of these dark arts guys, like, just hope in their little eyes, smiles, innocence. I think they're proud of it. I really think they're proud of it, and they think, I'll put it this way, they've made more of a game than I could make. I'll say that much. I'm not a game designer, but don't charge for it. That's the fact. It's asking $10 is a level of arrogance I have yet ever to experience in this industry. And that game is the worst piece of fucking shit I've ever done for Destructoid as a job. I may have played worse in my spare time. I mean, Gift and Red Ninja are up there. Games that no one's ever fucking heard of outside of a small group of damned souls. But as far as games I've reviewed go, this is the worst game I've played. And I love that Metacritic used the bait I gave them, where I said this is the worst piece of fucking shit I've ever played, and they can stick that on Metacritic. And they used that whole quote, which was nice. And again, like, this is where my desire to pity someone comes in. I'm looking at the page right now, the Metacritic page for Revelations 2012, and it's a sea of red. Just a sea of red. It's got a 1.7 user score. There are 3 critic reviews, a 1 from me, a 1 from gamer.nl, and a 1.5 from GameSpot. It's just red on that page. I've never seen a page that red on Metacritic.
So what is the game, basically?
Hamza doesn't know about the game yet.
Imagine Left 4 Dead, but racist. You've imagined Revelations 2012.
All right.
It's basically a Left 4 Dead. It's 4-player cooperative shooting, waves and waves of enemies who behave like the infected from Left 4 Dead, because it is Left 4 Dead. It is exactly the same with minor changes. One of the changes being that the 4 main characters are all white, and all of the enemies are half-naked brown people who wear bones and dance around fires. Which I say without comment, even though I did just say it was racist. I'm not accusing anyone of actual racism. It just looks very, very wrong when you play.
Do they explain it in the story? Do they say, oh, well, of course?
It involves the Mayan prophecy. As I said in the review, this reminds me of those mockbuster type films that we talked about on an earlier episode of Podtoid once. The Transmorphers, the Da Vinci problems, that kind of stuff. One of those cheap-ass films made to cash in on something. And there are a couple of mockbusters around the 2012 thing. There's some 2012 zombie film, there's a 2012 copy of the film that is just called 2012, and this is a game version of that. They've stuck 2012 in there to try and seize on that pop culture fascination with the end of the world shit that's going on among morons. So I guess they're brown because, and I will admit, the fucking hit doing the narrative intro of that game bored me to death, so I didn't pick up on all these intricate plot details. I think the enemies are either Mayans or some kind of tribe in the area who have a vested interest in ending the world. So that's the conceit. That's the reason you're there. That's the reason why fate, the fates, handpicked for white people to go and into a foreign land and kill everything in it.
Just with no, they've got a special gauntlet, right?
Oh, they've got a magic gauntlet, yeah. Because I think animating guns was too much effort. They probably can't draw guns, so they just gave them these little wristband fucking things. And you can just scroll with the mouse to change its one of 3 or 4 ammo types. And here's a fun thing, the fire button doesn't work. That's the opening gambit of Revelations, is you click the left mouse button when the game starts, and nothing's happening. You have to go into the menu and configure the keys, and you find the fire button, which is just empty. There's nothing bound. There's no key or button bound to it. You have to manually set the left mouse button, which until that point did nothing, to fire. You also have to manually change all the audio, because the audio settings are really low for in-game and really high for the menu. So you have to go in and fiddle with that, because otherwise it just sounds weird. I mean, the game's a fucking mess. It's one of those... have you ever seen those fucking like amateur animations people do on YouTube? Like the woman who did the I don't want my pizza burning, or one of those weird, creepy things. And it's kind of like that. It's that in game form, just poorly or even barely animated. People, their arms are like stuck out, stretched. They're not bent in any way. They're just out straight like stickman arms.
The main characters.
The main characters, yeah, and they just run around like that with these arms never moving, just pointed straight out, like they've got fucking leprosy or something.
It sounds like you'd see something you'd see in an ad for a technical college.
Yes, absolutely. It may have been made in a technical college by first years. I don't know yet. Just what a game! I know that I can guarantee you that they've had some sales based not only on my review, but Total Biscuit about a month ago did a video playthrough of it, and I'm sure the negative attention got people buying it just to see what the fuck it is. So I realise that my preaching about the game is kind of counterproductive, but I can't just sit and do nothing, damn it! Got responsibility, like Spider-Man.
Well, and if people enjoy a bad game, then you've told them what to do with their money.
That's the thing. I enjoy bad things, which is why I like to do this piece of shit podcast every week. I like Alien Resurrection, which everyone says is bad. I will watch The Room all the time. You know, Tommy Wiseau, I've always got time for his stuff. And I'll play a bad game. I mean, fuck, I am the man who gave Deadly Premonition a 10 out of 10. For better or worse, as it has done to my reputation. And I stand by it. But this, it doesn't even really qualify for the so bad it's good thing. It's just poor and upsetting and angry. The game makes me angry when I play it. Because of how bad it is and because they charge money for it.
It does sound like if it were free, it wouldn't have gotten a 1, maybe. If it was just like, oh, goof off with this piece of crap. You'd be like, oh, that was funny how bad it was.
Well, I mean, if it had been, like, just a... Because they keep trying to play on this mercy angle, saying, oh, we just wanted to show how far we've come in 2 years. It's like, dude, if you're just giving us a demo, make it a demo. Don't release it as a full game, or I will scrutinize it as a full fucking game.
Sure.
And it's... No, $10 as well, not even $1. There are games on my fucking iPad for $1 that are better, and I'll play more. Fucking, at the end of the day, when when Half-Brick can put out Jetpack Joyride for free, and it's one of the best games I've fucking played, and you get Revelations 2012, which is on Steam, ahead of games like Mutant Mudds, I should point out, for $10, which is a reduced price that we're supposed to be grateful for, then no, absolutely no mercy.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't owe them anything. You're helping them and you're helping the world. As usual, Jim. Doing the usual Jim thing. Doing my strong voice so I don't sound weird. You guys want to talk about that Mutant Mudds? Why the heck isn't that on Steam, guys?
I don't know. Why isn't it on Steam?
Because it doesn't use Source Engine. That's their problem.
Because it didn't use any of the Valve stuff.
That can't be it.
It's a mystery. It's a good game. I think we gave it a 9 or a 9.5. Sold well on the 3DS eShop. Good graphics, great music, good level design.
It's still in the top 10 in the eShop store for 3DS
yeah,
games.
It still sells pretty well, even with minimal promotion. He doesn't really promote it anymore. He just talks on Twitter and stuff like that, connects with the people, but it's not like there's commercials for it or anything. And yeah, it's a great game. And for some reason, Steam turned him down on first tries. And I was looking into good old games.
They've done this before, and it always disappoints me because PC is supposed to be the place where the fucking indie games can get away from that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. I forget who told me, and I even forget the game, but there was an indie game that they just kept resubmitting it, and on the third time they let it go through with no changes. See, it's weird. I don't know what it is. Maybe they just keep refusing it until they see that you want it bad enough. But it's silly, and like I say, that fucking Revelations goes up, no problem. Just because it uses Source, apparently. Even though it makes Source look dreadful. It's a pretty bad advert for Valve's product. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Mutant Mudds. It seems it seems so arbitrary, the Steam process sometimes, especially when they can let games in if they just submit it enough times.
That's how it is in Greece. I don't know if you've been to Greece.
No.
Yeah, that's how it is.
What?
You're like, I'd like a taxi, and they're like, no. You're like, no, I really want a taxi. They're like, okay, no. And then you have to be like, no, seriously, give me a taxi. And they're like, oh yeah, you want a taxi? Sure. Just suddenly, the more angry and demanding you get. I don't know.
Why didn't you say so?
Yeah, it's pretty
Everyone's just running a fucking vaudeville routine over there. That's what you're telling me. No wonder their countries go on.
That's how it felt. I didn't want squid. I had to tell them 7 times, no squid. Anyway, I can't help with Mutant Muds think that there's something weird. It just seems too weird. With these other games that have been refused, these are games that didn't already have glowing review scores and big sales on a big, it's the biggest handheld growing right now anyway, the 3DS. It's not quite the DS levels, but, it's the handheld that is in the news. And they never heard of it, or they didn't even play it to see if it was good, or they didn't realize it already has a huge fan base, or just something weird about the Mutant Mods thing. Gotta figure that out. It's freaking me out. Ugh.
You'd be an indie developer. Huh?
I talk to indie developers all the time now. Since how long have we been doing that show for, Conrad? Since February?
Something like that. I don't know. We just finished our 18th episode. So.
Jeez. It's kind of a lot. We skipped, I think, 2 weeks we missed. So you were going somewhere, and then because of E3 we skipped one, but been going pretty solid. Indie developers. I feel like I know them now. I like know the indie scene now, guys. Huh?
Would you say that indie games are art?
Yeah.
What do you think of art games, Jonathan?
Oh, you mean like cake?
Just art game.
You mean like booger?
For God's sake, Jonathan, start an argument with Conrad, you prick! That's not one! Start a fight!
Ratings! Need ratings! Need something saleable!
Seriously, right?
Save the show!
I've gotta say, fuck the pair of you.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a reviewer for a game, and then you do an art thing. And for the listeners, I mentioned a game called Thomas Was Alone.
And it is an art game. Like, if you were going to define something as an art game, like, if you say the word art game as an expression, one of the things that should pop up in your mind is probably this.
Well, that's it. I sent it to our review email, the Destructoid review account, to all the potential reviewers, and I'll normally say what the game is if it's not well known, just to give them an idea. And I said it's an arty game, it's of that mold, the art game mold, just as a term that's widely accepted and understood. And Jonathan, my friend Jonathan, opined that all games are art, therefore the definition of art game shouldn't be used.
It doesn't mean anything, actually.
Yeah.
You guys just proved it. Thomas Was Alone is no more an art game than Gears of War. It's just a 2D platformer with graphics.
Well,
right.
Yeah, I mean, but you see the problem I'm faced with, Jonathan, is when I'm trying to describe a game easily to people, so that they know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And we've got a term like art game, which applies to a very distinct type of game.
It does not, though.
When we've got a term like art game, which applies to a very distinct type of game.
If it did, I'd be all for it. But if Limbo, Thomas Was Alone, Journey, Raid, if those are all art games, then the term means nothing.
Okay. Let me try and... I'll rephrase it. If I've got the term art game, right, which applies to a very distinct type of game.
But it doesn't at all. It's the problem.
If I've got the term... Okay, well, let's take the term art game, right?
Yep, the meaningless term art game.
Let's take the term art game.
That has no meaning. It's just like saying cake.
Okay, let's take the term art game, which implies to a very distinct meaning of game. And then it's muddied and rendered meaningless, right?
Yeah.
How am I going to tell my reviewers what Thomas Was Alone is?
So many different things you could have said. It's a weird game. It's an indie game. It's a game with abstract shapes. It's a platformer. It's a progressive game. I don't know, just something, a word that means something other than art game.
But the thing is, though, is within the context of the gamer community, within the context of discussing types of games.
Yes.
The term art game has a meaning.
I would disagree with you on that. And it's even proven by... Yeah.
The thing is, if I say the term art game, people are instantly thinking right now, the listeners are thinking Dear Esther, Stanley Parable, okay? The Path, The Void.
A lot of these games are pretty different from each other. What it communicates to a lot of people, art game, is, oh, that's a game that wasn't made to be fun, which is not true. And even I'm not going to name him because I don't want to shame him, but he was like, oh, I don't know how to review art games, so maybe I shouldn't play it. And that really was like, ugh. So people are not playing games just because they're being called art games because they're making all these assumptions about them. And I've actually played a little bit of the game. It's just a cool 2D platformer. It's not intimidating whatsoever. But the fact that people are hearing art game and getting all these ridiculous notions from it, that it's a completely separate kind of experience just based on that label is bad. It's bad for us. Bad for you, Jim, and you, Hamza, and you, Conrad, and the world. So we should stop saying stuff that doesn't mean anything, and worse, sends a bad message in the process. No more art game. Dumb idea.
Right, but it is an art game.
So is Gears of War. Next time you've got Gears of War Judgment, be like, I've got an art game. It's about things. It's got gameplay. It's an experience. Art game, Gears of War, it's just as arty. Even more arty to some people. Gears of War is more art than Thomas Was Alone, some would say, because it affects more people and has more deep meaning for more folks who love Gears of War. Gears of War is a very deep, meaningful series to a lot of people. Our own, how am I forgetting her name? That beautiful British woman with red hair.
Right, but art game it's an applied term.
Right,
it's an applied term.
Different to everybody. Everybody. Art. What does art mean, Ted?
But it's not about what the word art means. It's about art game as its own thing. Artificial intelligence means something completely different from how it's used in the gamer community. I've had this argument with Wardrox before. The term artificial intelligence is used incorrectly by gamers. But, if we just look at the original definition, but it's applied in a certain way to a certain thing in a game.
Jargon is the word you're looking for. It's something that applies specifically to this culture and has a specific meaning to this culture, but isn't necessarily indicative of the world as a whole. And I take Jonathan's... I understand what Jonathan is saying, that the phrase art game itself is redundant because all games are art. But I think then what we need to be clear on is the definition of an art game, and the definition that I would apply to an art game is a game which is designed with the purpose of expressing an artistic sentiment. Or objective, or it's intended to express something artistically. Now, so not every game is intending, to express an artistic idea. Some games are just designed to be fun.
Madden doesn't express much in way of artistic idea. Maybe Brain Age, but other than that, almost every game I can think of expresses an artistic idea.
No. They may do, but it's more about the primary intent.
Yeah, the primary intent.
The primary intent of Gears of War is not
to make an artistic statement.
Exactly.
No, I don't think so.
I disagree 100%. There are so many statements in Gears of War. I don't even like Gears of War.
We're not saying there can't be statements in it.
Yeah.
It certainly can express an artistic sentiment, but the primary driving goal of Gears of War is not that.
You mean the single-player campaign or the competitive?
The whole product. And
Single-player, I would say the primary goal is definitely artistic. Competitive isn't really art anymore. That's sports.
right, but it's been packaged as an entertainment product. The primary goal is, well, to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's been specifically designed to fall in line with what people already want, with what's popular. Again, I'm not saying any of this in a derogatory way. An art game is something more personal to a specific individual or a very small group of people. They make it for themselves primarily. They make it to express something specific that they want to say about something they care deeply about. And they, often do it in a obtuse, vague way. And there's a lot of meaning and metaphor and all this business going on there, which just isn't present in Gears of War, which is more designed. An art game comes from the heart, whereas something like Gears of War comes more from a blueprint.
I bet Cliffy B will be psyched.
I don't give a fuck what he thinks.
Because he thinks that game is from the heart. And he thinks
he's talking out of his fucking ring.
Again, I don't even like Gears of War, but I would not say it is more or less art than Journey.
I'm not saying it's more or less art. See, this is where you're getting me wrong. I'm not saying...
You can't blame me for getting me... You're using a term that is just obviously dumb. It's not... I'm not saying it's more or less art, but it's more of an art game, you're going to say. That's not...
No. I'm not saying it's an art game. I'm saying it belongs to the definition that we have come as gamers to understand what an art game is. And that's not to talk about the artistic merit or to say it's more art than something else. But the term art game applies to a very specific type of game. In the same way that artificial intelligence isn't actually talking about artificial intelligence as understood by scientists working in the field, it applies to something very specific within the games.
Right. Yeah, gotcha.
So when I say art game, people are instantly thinking of a certain type of game. They therefore know the general ballpark it's in.
You seem pretty attached to using the term art game, even though...
Because it works, and my job as reviews editor...
Doesn't work.
It's,
in my opinion.
It does work.
If you got someone to say, "Oh, I shouldn't play that if it's an art game," then the term is proven.
No, it absolutely works. Because because I found my reviewer.
Right, and you maybe missed out on a reviewer who could have really understood that game and enjoyed it, but because he got the wrong idea about what kind of game it is, because you used the term art game, bad things happen.
I used the term art-ish game.
Huh?
I said art-ish game. I got them in the general ballpark, and then.
But now we don't run the risk of having someone who doubts themselves doing the review. We've got someone who's confident they can handle it.
Exactly.
Boom,
done. You wouldn't have.
Mine absolutely would. If I'd have had if we were talking now and I didn't have a reviewer, there'd be a potential merit in what you're saying. But I have a reviewer. The system works. My system works.
Your system scraped by, yes.
It's the only failure of this system, and this was the point I was originally trying to get to, is that in order to get my reviewer, I had to dig through you and Conrad. Going through a fight I was trying to kickstart now, yet somehow became the unwitting partner in.
Well, we already talked about it, Conrad. And I would say that you should stop using our game. I really hope you do. I hope you think about it tonight and stop using it. Because
I've been called into the principal's office for looking up a girl's skirt.
Yeah, well,
I really hope you don't have a think when you go home. Have a think about what you've done.
Because continuing to use the term is going to continue to segregate gamers unwittingly, because they're going to hear, "Oh, it's an art game, I'll play this because I like art games," or "Oh, I'm not going to play that because it's not an art game."
That's good! That's good!
Art games and regular games are much more similar then there should be no designation because the experience of playing them is not that different. I can line up 10 art games and play them all, and they'll all be totally different, and I can line up 10 non-art games, I guess you'd call them, and they'd be totally different, and I might find more similarities between the art games and non-art games.
But
So
you could
it's just a
charge
terrible
me.
classification that's meaningless,
but-
and it sends the wrong idea.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you call Pac-Man survival horror.
Yeah, and it is.
You could charge me with the
See,
task.
that's why I can't ever take you seriously.
Well, some people.
I love you, but that's why I don't participate. I didn't want to get into the argument because we'd already had it, and we got into it, and we've both sort of come to the conclusion we actually agree on what art is.
Yeah, we do.
So
I think we all do agree on that point, but I mean, just going back to that point, you could charge me the task of finding you 10 shooters. Just say, find me 10 shooting games.
Well,
and I'll find you wildly different experiences.
But do you see why shooter at least describes what you do in the game? Art game describes nothing other than some sort of pretense of you knowing what the game developer had in mind, and you have no idea.
What do you do when you go to a art gallery?
Huh?
What do you do when you go to an art gallery?
I look at art.
Right, you look at art, and what are you doing when you look at art? Are you just looking at art, or are you doing something beyond just looking at art?
Depends on the art, I guess.
Okay.
You know.
Right. So that's what an art game is. An art game is something that is different, typically, that challenges you to look at it and evaluate it. All these other games don't challenge you to evaluate them because many of them are the same or have common concepts or have enough, either it's a visual element that's consistent with the rest of games or whatever, and the art games tend to be something that are intended to provoke you to think. People
should be evaluating all games based on the same standard. They shouldn't be saying, oh, it's an art game, and therefore I'm going to look for deep meaning in it, or this is not an art game, so I'm just going to ignore looking for meaning. They're all art, and they should all be looked at in the same way. And to split them up is just a bad idea.
Well, I'm not saying you split them up when you are evaluating the actual product itself, but for the purposes of telling someone what they can expect, in 5 words I need someone who can write this review for me. 5 words, you throw in art game because it's convenient. It lets you know that, hey, you're going to be playing a platformer with blocks and it's going to make you feel something. Art game, perfect, done.
Yeah, maybe you like it. I think it's the worst.
I cannot believe you just dissed Thomas Was Alone like that. That game is amazing.
Yeah, it is a good game. It is a good mainstream game for everyone to enjoy.
Well, good. I'm glad you... I agree. Everyone should go and check it out.
Yeah, the art game computes to people often, it's not fun. Which is just an awful thing to say. There's so many bad things about the...
I really think that Jonathan Holmes might be more tapped into reality than I am. I'm really starting to think that. I thought all this time I've thought he was crazy. Not crazy, but you have ideas that you bring forth to me, and I'm starting to think you're right about all of them.
Sometimes I'm right about things.
Maybe you are unplugged from the Matrix.
I like video games.
Poor Holmes.
Like the other day, we were having some other argument about I can't even remember. It wasn't important, but it ended with me having to ask whether or not an expression implied someone's level of investment in something. It was the particular way something was worded, and I was just curious because I didn't take the same thing from it that you did at all. And it was we're giving people what they want. Was the expression, and I was thinking, I'm thinking to myself, I think about things from a sort of business-minded point of view a lot of times, and I don't want to say that I'm cold and impersonal, but I sleep in a separate room from my future wife. But the thing that I think when I say we're giving people what they want is like, oh, okay, so we're comfortable with what we're doing. We know what our audience is requesting, and we're producing for that. And you took that to mean we don't want to do this, but this is what's going to sell.
Yeah,
I think more or less. And so I asked people, and everybody went that route, and it just seemed so. I don't know. Maybe I thought it was cynical or just depressing to think that that's what that means. But that's just And everyone came back thinking that. I was like, oh shit, maybe I really have no idea anymore.
Yeah, if you say we're going to give people what they want, it implicitly is saying, well, we're not going to care about what we want to do. Because if that's what you meant, you would have said, well, we're going to do what we want, and we hope people like it. Yeah. Anyway, this is an exciting podcast for people who listen to it for the comedy. And I've had to sound tough this whole time because of my microphone, so I sounded angrier at you guys than I was.
I enjoyed it. I thought that was a very nice, fun debate.
Oh yeah, it was.
I was mostly doing it just for the sake of it.
Yeah, to me it just spurred
I
on.
thought it was kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I hope it was. I hope people liked it.
I mean, we had people whining last week that we were talking too serious about gender.
Now we were super serious about art games.
This is what all those people get who asked for me to be on the show. This is what happened.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
I got nothing.
Come on, Hamza. Talk to me about your life in San Francisco. What are the exciting things happening to you with video games? Podcast. You're the video game guy on the show.
What?
That's your gimmick on Podtoid, is that you have played video games.
Oh, gotcha.
You're the one who actually plays good games.
I've been playing Lollipop Chainsaw, but I hate it and I love it.
I was curious about your, because I know you were like a big supporter and you're a big Suda fan.
Yeah, I don't know what it. I think it's just the way the level design specifically. It's very. The progress is very slow. You're going through a section. You kill all the zombies, and then you kind of have to do something. I guess I hate the fact that you have to to get to the next part of the section of a level. You have to do some kind of dance, some stupid dickhead thing, or just pressing a QTE sequence to get pop-up events or whatever.
And I mean this, with no disrespect. Have you played a Suda 51 game before? This one?
I have. I've never experienced this with No More Heroes.
It is worse in this one. I agree with Hamza. Like in No More Heroes, there's an illusion of agency. You're like, oh, I'll raise money and then build up to the time I get to do the job, and then you do the job you get to choose which job you do.
Shadows of the Damned is that.
Personally, I found
I've never played Shadows of the Damned yet. I feel like an asshole for not having.
Killer 7 is even much the same way, and it's sort of very linear. Here's a quick problem solved. Now you got to run back. It's a little more investigative exploration of the levels. But
I'd have said Lollipop Chainsaw. Don't get me wrong. I thought the bits where they broke it up were annoying. I don't want to play zombie fucking basketball or zombie fucking baseball. I don't want to play that shit. But I found it less egregious than Shadows of the Damned with the shooting sections in that, the big boner level. And No More Heroes, which I found was full of stuff that I just felt was wasting my goddamn time. And again, I love both those games.
Well, and I usually find that those mini-game diversions, or at least in the earlier games, they're better than the main game in a lot of circumstances. And so they're kind of more welcome diversions for me. I spend all my time in No More Heroes just playing the retro mini-games.
Yeah, No More Heroes 2 is the better retro ones. Is that the one you meant, Conrad?
Yeah, yeah.
I love the mini-games in No More Heroes 2. So part of it's how fun they are. And in Lollipop Chainsaw, there's a lot of one-hit kill mini games that I just couldn't. I actually like zombie basketball and zombie baseball a good amount, but the one where you're just driving a tractor and occasionally hit something
that was a great. Yeah, that did encroach on my time, but I didn't find it quite as annoying as I did in Shadows of the Damned and No More Heroes. I didn't feel like it was a big roadblock, more of a speed bump.
Sure.
That was just me. I mean, I can certainly see why it would piss people off more than it did me, though.
Well,
I like that it's broken up into levels. I like the level structure. It tells me when to stop playing, but the unfortunate thing is that I haven't felt motivated to pick it up and play it again after. And I'm done with the second level, I think.
There's something about it too. It's just not drawing me in say No More Heroes did. I find myself playing the game in 20-minute chunks. I've been playing since it came out a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, based on your review, Jim, it's only a 4 or 5 hour game top, but it's taking me. I'm still at the hippie level actually, and it's just I don't know. Some of the characters are just rubbing me the wrong way. It's really, really annoying in a lot of ways. I think it's Cordelia.
Cordelia's the older sister. I think.
No, the younger sister. That whole section is just driving me insane. It's just like, hey, I'm stupid. I'm driving a bus. Oh no, what's going on?
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought you'd react that way to it. I do want to say that the Big Boner is the worst Suda minigame ever. That hurt me bad. It's fun for like 30 seconds, and then you get the idea, and then 20 minutes later you're still just hearing check Boner over and over again. Just, yeah, so that's worse than anything Lollipop Chainsaw.
Otherwise, though, lovely game. Shadow to the Damned.
Yeah. I like all Suda games a lot. Just there's always a few parts that hurt you.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I think it's also like the combat isn't as, I want to say, as well connected or fluid as something like No More Heroes.
Yeah, it's a little bit more start and stop-ish, where with No More Heroes you can
just fucking wail on them.
Yeah, you just start a combo and continue.
Well, and there's a real value and strategy to bunching and grouping enemies together and spreading damage out evenly so you can maximize the number that you're eliminating with your big hit at the end of your combo. And
Lollipop Chainsaw. Right?
Yeah.
Lollipop Chainsaw is very much about controlling the immediate space around you, not just one enemy or even a couple enemies, but, corralling 5 or 6, stunning them, and then getting them right where you want them and killing them all at the same time, which is it's a fun thing to do. It's a new idea. But if you're not powered up very much, it's a little too frustrating to even bother doing that, so you just hit everybody until they die.
Yeah, it's taken me forever to earn enough money.
I think you'll enjoy it more, Hamza, once you get the last power-up, which is basically a combo that can kill 5 or 6 zombies at once in a row. So it's mindless, but it is fun to just get like 30 guys on screen and then kill all 30 of them in a few seconds.
Is that the one that costs like $700 or coins?
No, there's one even more expensive than that comes up in a couple of years.
Okay.
$900, so I'd save up for it. It's more fun with that. And the last boss is really good too. We like that.
The arcade level I previewed, that was like the last thing I previewed before the game came out. That was really fun. I really liked the whole level design, the arcade stuff. Just the fact that the zombies were dancing, it was really charming, that part. But just where I'm at right now is just more frustrating than anything.
The farm level is the most monotonous level, I thought. That helps.
Alright.
So once you're through that, it gets better.
Cool. But otherwise, yeah, that's all I've been playing.
What? Where have you been? You haven't been on the show for so long. I thought you were playing video games and stuff.
No, I just had a broken laptop. My laptop broke at E3.
That stinks.
Yeah, and I just haven't... I'm borrowing Nero's right now. While he's in Conrad's living room playing Bionic Commando or something.
Yeah.
Bionic Commando 1 on the Nintendo? That is a good game. Yeah. It's an art game right there. Yeah.
For God's sake.
Just as much an art game as Thomas was alone, absolutely. Art game. Come on. The worst.
I'm going to keep using it.
Good. I'll keep saying fart.
Not in my review emails, you won't.
Fart.
That ain't happening.
This is a fart that's a fart, also. That's what art game is. This is an art that's a art. It's a fart that's a fart. You guys like farts. I can tell by your silence.
Unbelievable.
So, Jim, sometimes you're not right. It's tough. I know it's hard for you.
Hey, as soon as you present me with any evidence of that, I'll believe it. But until then, that is wild speculation.
Yeah. Just my opinion, really. There was a guy who, because I was talking about it a little bit on Twitter, because you said I wasn't allowed to talk about it in an email, so I was like, I'll talk about it on Twitter then. And a guy was like, I love the term art game because it tells me what games to avoid, because they all suck. I'm like, that's exactly the problem. Some of them are actually fun if you play them. It's like, no, art game means not fun. I played Passage. I know they all suck. I'm like, no.
That person doesn't deserve to get to play great games then.
He seemed like a nice guy. We talked more after that.
But it's the pitfall of any describer. I mean, my natural instinct is to shy away from anything called a romantic comedy, but that doesn't mean there aren't ones out there that I might like. But you've got to call that shit something, and I've got to call that shit that makes up most art games something. And our
High
game does
Fidelity.
it.
High Fidelity is a romantic comedy. It's fucking brilliant.
It is a good movie.
But when you say romantic comedy, you think, the breakup.
Yeah, I was
Something with Jennifer Lopez. I don't know the
Yeah.
name of any Jennifer Lopez film, I don't think.
The Wedding Planner.
Sure, I believe you.
Yeah, she's in Ice Age 3 as well.
There we go. Okay, Ice Age 3. I'm sure that's a romantic comedy.
She plays the romance part. I think she romances Dennis Leary, which is hot.
Yeah, that's believable.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're going to use a describer, might as well be one that describes something instead of, maybe describes something to some people that means something totally different to someone else. And understandably, because art game, if you try to break it down, those words don't really make that much sense next to each other. It's redundant. So there's other words you could use, Jim. And we, being the pioneers of the video game, journalism.
Oh my god, this is so tedious.
Bravest. It is up to us to change video games. But just overnight.
I love you.
Words. We are the leaders. They will follow us. Especially you.
No, they won't. Nobody's following us. Oh god. People,
Jim,
they better not be.
Change the world, Jim. Make it better for me. I thought you loved me. I'm cashing in those love chips now. Use a different term other than our term. Make it something I love.
Is he right? Are people following us?
Yeah, they listen to what
people will. After last week's Podtoid, people have been trying to suggest to their friends that they turn their houses into Western-style saloon and brothels.
So, Jim, please. I know you're mad at me, Jim. Don't be mad. Please try to turn on your love light. Turn it on in your heart tonight. And think, just for my little buddy Jonathan Holmes, a little scamp, I'm going to come up with a term better than art game.
Okay, alright.
Uh-oh.
With a wave of my wand. From now on, art games will be called Nelly Furtado.
You see what you have done?
I like it.
So Thomas Was Alone is a Nelly Furtado game.
She is pretty spirited. She does things her own way, Nelly.
And she does art music as opposed to regular music as well.
That's right. She's very good at that abstract art music.
Yeah. She is like a bird.
Is it questions time? We did so much good talking.
I didn't do questions. I was too busy playing The Amazing Spider-Man today.
Oh, how's that turning out?
It's alright. I beat it today. I'm going to review it for Destructoid tomorrow. Pretty good. It is Arkham City. Absolutely Arkham City, but with Spider-Man. And I'm okay with that.
People are going to love that.
That'll
That's exactly what they wanted, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the graphics aren't quite as good.
It's actually, it looks pretty decent. It's not quite as refined, and it suffers for being chained to the movie, so they can't go the whole hog and introduce loads of characters. And my biggest problem is, like, they've got Scorpion, Rhino, and Vermin, but they're not Scorpion, Rhino, and Vermin. They're just mutants that are vaguely based on them. So the only real named villain is the Lizard from the actual upcoming movie. So that's a shame. But as I was saying before we were recording to Humza and Conrad, I get a feeling that this game is going to serve as a test bed, as a foundation, and give it a few months and they'll announce an actual Spider-Man game based off the actual comics and away from the movie, and that will be their Arkham style game, and they'll throw in all the other characters, they'll throw in Doc Ock and Venom and Mysterio and all that business. I reckon they'll do that. They'd be stupid not to. If they're already going to copy Arkham, they might as well go the whole hog.
Sure, so they'll reboot the Spider-Man game franchise in a few months after the Spider-Man
I would
game.
hope so, because they've got it works. That the whole predatory stealth, everything they took from Arkham, works well with Spider-Man, so they'd be silly to waste it on just a movie license.
Oh, cool. That's an exciting prospect. I hope they do that. Do you think it'll be Spider-Blackman that they do with the reboot?
Probably not. Everyone knows Peter Parker, really.
Yeah, I prefer Miles. It's the new
It's because you're racist.
Yeah. I hate
For your own
white.
people. Racist.
No one knows who my people are, though. I just have to pick a race and dislike them arbitrarily.
Can I pick your race?
Because race sounds kind of like ace, which sounds like ass a little. So would be that?
That's pretty good. I'll add that to my thing. I'm tired now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sleepy.
On this show, it's been hard. We have to be with each other and try to make sense and sound good.
It's getting really hot in this office now as well.
You want to close it up?
It's time to wrap up. No Willem Dafoe pitch this week. This is the fourth week
been
running.
waiting like a month.
I know, and it's so shit.
And you promised it at the head.
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
It's okay though because it's not good, and it's not like I've spent the past few weeks coming up with more. I've just sat on this one. I've just kept this one. So it's not like I've got great ideas that have been storing up. So don't worry about that. Don't worry if long-time fans worried there might be some quality coming. I don't want to break formula. But that'll do for a podcast. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Jerks.
Yeah, let's close out with talking about stuff that we will do that they can look at on the internet. What have you got coming up, Holmes?
Oh, this Sunday on Subhomes, the show that Conrad engineers. Thank you so much, Conrad.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's really good. Conrad makes it good. I think this week we have Tim Rogers on, which is crazy.
What?
Tim Rogers, writer from Kotaku, occasional Kotaku, and game developer, hence he can be on the show. We had Anthony Carboni on the show too, and I was like, it's a bit of a stretch, but did you make a game once, Carboni? And he wrote one, so he could be on.
Well, it's just industry people that
It is.
Anthony made a game that actually featured Mr. Destructoid in it too.
Yeah, he did.
Character.
Yeah, he contributed to that Bitejacker game, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Tim made a game called Ziggurat. He co-made a game, and it's actually good. We reviewed it on Destructoid.
Sounds like an art game.
It is not. It is a shooter, and since there's no such thing as an art game, we will call it a shooter. And it's a good shooter. It's a simple kind of wave-based shooter where you stand on a ziggurat, which is another word for kind of like a pyramid. Anyway, Tim Rogers is famous for writing really long articles that often have some good points in them. So he's actually a game writer who's made good on his promise to make a good game, too. So I'm excited to talk to him. I hopefully we'll get along. He seems kind of mean sometimes, so he might be mean to me. That'll be interesting. And we also, I think, maybe I'm going to be able to get another Talking to Women About Video Games posted. There's only going to be a couple more episodes of that because I'm really tired of all the people in the comments calling the women on the show sluts. So because of that, I just my one goal with that show is I actually try to look bad because I think it's funny. I can laugh at myself when I just look stupid. So to make myself laugh, I act stupid on that show. But one of the goals was the women will never look bad and they will never be treated badly because they were on the show. And that's not really happening anymore. So
that's the problem with fucking internet people. It's like, if it's a woman, they will look bad no matter what, just by virtue of their gender. That's upsetting.
We had a good run. There was a long time they would just be like, oh, she's hot, or I want to do her, which is gross, but it's not like derogatory, like bitch and slut stuff.
It's not a direct intent to harm.
Yeah, it's all derogatory.
Yeah.
But
it's still fucking stupid and but
maybe
I like how
Yeah.
The Jessica Negri teaser you put on YouTube, it's like less than 30 seconds and it has 10,000 views.
Yeah, it immediately got 10,000 views. And that was like, oh, that's fun. And then I read the comments from the viewers and I was like, ugh. Yeah. Anyway, so thanks to Jessica for being on that. I thought she was hilarious on it. Did a really good job.
I like Jessica because in every photograph of Jessica, she just looks like she's having the most fun in the world. More than anyone else.
You know how in Lollipop Chainsaw, no matter what the situation, Juliet is pretty much finding a way to have fun with it, and She is kind of like a dude who just loves mindless violence, but is also fits the feminine archetype at the same time. That's how Jessica is in real life. She's just like Julia.
She seems that way, just
Yeah.
rubbing her fun in everyone else's face, if I'm quite honest. Flaunting it and showing off while children in Africa go starving.
And she's really humble about it too. She's really grateful.
Yeah, good people.
So she's cool. Thank you for being on that. You can watch that right now, actually. I didn't mention that. The teaser and the full episode of the Lollipop Chainsaw talking about video games are on YouTube. I have to write features for those. It's really hard for me to write about Lollipop Chainsaw because you gotta say it just right or else you're gonna accidentally piss somebody off. And if someone gets mad, fine, but only if they get mad because I said what I meant to say and they understood me properly. When people get angry at you over a misunderstanding, that's the worst. So trying hard to write those features too. And if we do another talking about video games, it'll probably be with Shannon from Nintendo talking about the Wii U. That'll go up this weekend.
I hung out with her last week.
Oh, cool. How's she doing?
She's great.
Yeah,
she showed me Wario for Wii U.
Oh, she was at Nintendo hanging out?
Yeah, at the little event they had in San Francisco not too long ago.
Game and Wario? So what's
yeah.
That? Yeah. Well, some of it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I talk to her about video games, when she's not at work, it's never Nintendo games. She played Skyrim for 60 hours straight or something like that. And anyway, yeah, Shannon's good. She'll be on the show hopefully soon. What about you guys? What have you got working on?
Hamza, what you got coming for us?
I honestly, guys, I got shit. It's such a weird time right now. This lull after E3 is over is kind of depressing. I'm trying to find projects for myself. I mean, I'm gonna start prepping for Comic-Con soon and Gamescom and then PAX Prime, but beyond that, it's just yeah, I'm kind of here. What's up? It sucks. Honestly, I want to keep busy, but there's nothing really crazy happening right now.
You wrote a really good feature not that long ago.
Oh yeah, I guess if you guys want to check that out, I wrote a feature last week, in fact, about how I'm done with the Kinect. I never want to play it again. I don't want to do anything with the Kinect this generation ever again. It's broken. No one can take advantage of it properly, it seems. And this is because of Steel Battalion Heavy Armor, which the review went up last week as well. I think we gave it a 3.
That's right, which was surprisingly generous.
Yeah, it was pretty generous. A lot of reviews.
I was shocked at the number. I was, because we had been talking about it, and then I read the review. I mean, oh, wow, yeah.
I mean,
it was funny.
He wasn't wrong, or anything.
He got far enough to
have a better value judgment of it than I could have. But based on what I had seen, I couldn't. That was.
I got upset. I was almost in tears playing that game.
He was probably the only person who got that far in the game. Penny Arcade report, Ben Kutura's thing. He wrote about all the reactions to that game too, and he mentioned Chris Carter got up to level 5 in the game, and bless his heart, getting so far into it. Basically,
I just found him. I just found Ben Kucher in the Penny Arcade Adventures episode 3. He's hanging out in one of the environments, just chilling, researching a book. Yeah.
But I wrote that feature last week. A lot of people really liked it, I guess. You can check it out on Destructor.com. Otherwise, hit me up on Twitter. Let's talk. What you want to talk about? What's up?
What's up, girl?
Conrad, have you got anything cooking?
Well, we got this week on a Saturday Morning Hangout. We've been playing the Bruce Willis Apocalypse game for PlayStation 1.
That game!
It's the game is actually pretty good.
It's fun to watch.
But they had just it was just a bad idea from beginning to end, and it's really nothing but Bruce Willis spouting one-liners, and then you can misinterpret them as anal sex references.
That's one of the old classics. That's one of don't not do it, Conrad. Do your old classic.
It's a what?
Strap
one on. It's strap one on. It's time to jam. That's right. Yeah. Oh, you want one? You want some? Oh, you want some too? I mean, it's just like it's the throwaway. He was supposed to play second fiddle in this. He was supposed to be the partner character to the main character, and they just said, "Fuck it, he's Bruce Willis. He should be the main character." And it went terribly. They'd already recorded the dialogue, so they just had to work with what they had.
And isn't it the music from Poe?
Yeah, Poe's in it, and she does voice acting, and her likeness is in it as well.
That's awesome.
We're not to that part yet. I often quit the game after her level, but we didn't make it that far when we played on Saturday, so we're going to play it again.
You don't get games like that anymore.
No.
I wonder how much this cost them to just get Bruce and Poe and all this.
Oh, I can't imagine Poe was all that expensive at the time,
Sure.
but Bruce Willis would have been, that would have been a big price tag. This was right after Fifth Element. Like, you can even tell some of the visual stuff is really Fifth Element inspired.
Yeah, I remember that. But back then, the rest of the game wasn't as expensive to produce, so they could afford a Bruce Willis one. So.
Well, it was originally a Sony internal project, as I was led to understand, that they, I guess, shelved or it wound up in development hell, and then Neversoft had a game that they were... I'm sorry, it was an internal Activision project, and Neversoft was working on a game for Sony, and that fell through, but they still had the engine. And so Activision was like, hey, do you want to finish this game we started?
Huh.
And they made Apocalypse, and then they took the engine and used it to make Tony Hawk. I guess the story from what I pieced together is that Activision came to them 5 months into the development on Apocalypse and said, "Why don't you make a prototype for a skateboarding game for us?" And that's what became Tony Hawk and launched Neversoft, and then got them acquired, and then drove them to making. I guess they're doing Call of Duty now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's
Yeah, it worked out for them.
There you go. Oh.
Yeah.
Go
So,
live.
anyway,
I'm glad Saturday morning, because when did that come back, Saturday Morning Hangover?
Well, we took a couple of weeks. I mean, we take a week off whenever someone has to travel, and we had a couple of weeks there where it just got. We had people traveling, and then I had one day where I had a bad hot dog at a hot dog cart at like 3 a.m, and so we had to cancel one day. So, but generally speaking, 10 a.m. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific. I guess it's noon Central, so no longer morning. But screw it. And the thing I like about it is that I get to check out all the Xbox Live indie games. I wouldn't do that every week if I didn't have a motivation, and there's usually something cool in there every week. That's
Are you going to play Spelunky on there when that comes out? That's coming out soon.
Is it an Xbox Live indie, or is it I mean, I'll probably wind up playing it just because it's fun, and I can't necessarily depend on other people on our channel to play it. So.
Like most Xbox Live indie games, it is an art game because it's got meanings.
Wait, no, there's no way it could be an indie game. It's got to be XBLA.
Yeah, it's got to be XBLA.
I'm just joshing. It is XBLA.
Okay.
Your name is Jonathan, not Josh.
Oh!
Ew.
That was a horrible
so
story.
that, and then watch Sup Holmes, which is on iTunes now, and so you can subscribe to it through the iTunes, and you can rate and review it. It's new and noteworthy for video games.
Why did that happen, Conrad?
Because people rated and reviewed it in a torrent, and we started 16 episodes in, so there was a lot of content, and then we immediately updated with an additional episode 2 days after. I mean, I had a plan. It wasn't like I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, I never said that. I just didn't know what the plan was, and it's exciting to
Yeah.
work together. Seems like people like it a little.
Yes. Actually, last I checked, there were 28 reviews on it, and 27 of them were 5 stars, and one of the reviews was mine. So...
What did you give our...
I gave it a 4. But at least I know who the asshole is who gave it a 4.
Yeah, I have the feeling it's going to be one of those shows that the people who wouldn't like it would never even bother trying to listen to it, and luckily the people that do give it a shot end up liking what the developers have to say. So.
Yeah, and the audience it's growing. People seem to like it. You're fantastic on it. It's just and the guests that we get are willing to talk, which is wonderful.
That's the only thing I think I do. I am a little bit good at getting weird people to tell me their secrets because I have a lot of practice with that. But I hate myself on the show, man. I can't even watch it afterwards. I hate it so much. I should be so much better. I should be like Jim. Jim, why don't you... Jim, good idea. Will you host...
No, Jim has a terrible internet connection. I can't rely on his
Actually,
Yeah.
Actually, Conrad,
Mm.
changed internet connection.
Oh,
Ooh.
Jim?
I actually meant to talk to you about this because I don't know whether you.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna
Doing
talk.
that.
I got some ideas.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we switched back from AT&T to Comcast. The name usually sends shivers down my spine because Alex had a very bad time with them about 5 years back. But AT&T service to our house was just ridiculous, as you know from
Yeah.
trying to stream. So far, this connection is noticeably better. It's to the point where I can download a Steam game and do other things. I can even upload and do other things.
That's
Which,
delightful.
yeah. Whereas before it was like if I'm uploading, I don't want to do anything else too heavy because it's the connection's swallowed. So far so good. Hopefully I'll be
Well,
able
good.
to do some streaming stuff.
Good, because we're going to be doing some more episodes of Office Chat soon. I actually have one from that's like a week old that I just didn't get a chance to look at yet, so it's sitting there, and I'll get that put together and thrown up
Yeah,
before
that's
it's untimely.
yeah. No promises, but
No
yeah,
promises,
hopefully.
right? But yeah, that's the idea. But yeah, so we're going to do a little bit more of that, and yeah, that's really what I'm up to. What do you have doing, Jim?
Yeah, what
What do I have doing?
Yeah.
Well, on Friday, posted a blatantly better article. Diablo 3 is blatantly better than Torchlight 2. Don't worry, it's not what it sounds like.
I was so glad to see that series come back, though.
I was happy. Yeah, I was happy to do it again. It's been 2.5 years since I did it. For those that sort of are new readers and listeners since then, it was a series of articles where I would make fun of the idea of comparing two different games to each other. There are different points in each one. Sometimes I'm on the side of the game I'm comparing something to. Sometimes I'm on the other thing's side. In this case, it was mostly making fun of all of Diablo 3's silly business decisions and then putting them up against Torchlight. And it's a big satirical thing. I like Diablo 3. They're always intended for a laugh more than anything else. Most people got it. I think it showed the evolution of the Destructoid community over the years, in that there was very little rage in the comments. Everyone seemed to get the gist of it and enjoy it for what it was, which I love. I love that Destructoid's community has become sort of diverse in a very good way, not in a everyone's fighting way.
That one was on Gamefront. It's not on Gamefront? Or something?
No, blatantly better is a Destructoid property. So yeah, that went up. What else have I done? I got the Revelations 2012 review up, which people can see right now. This week we should have The Amazing Spider-Man. Strangely, a lot of people keen for that review to go up. A lot of people have been asking where it is, so that'll be up. Hopefully write it tomorrow morning and get it up by the afternoon. On escapistmagazine.com, I did my Jimquisition as usual. The latest episode is called Rape versus Murder, which has been very well received. I was shitting myself considering the subject matter, but it was very well received, and people have very much enjoyed it and even debated respectfully. So that's good. And that's about it. Thanks for listening to Podtoid. Do follow us on the Twitters. You can follow Hamza at CTZ, Jonathan Holmes at Tronnots, TRONKNOTTS, Conrad Zimmerman at Conrad Zimmerman, all one word, and myself at Jim Sterling, all one word. You can get an app for iTunes on Amazon. Don't get it anywhere else because it's fucked. $2, you get fuck all with it, but it just helps us out a bit if you want. No pressure. Do write us reviews on iTunes if you want, and subscribe on RSS or whatever it is you do, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.